As you can see, we've started a new project. I'm making this wooden table, wooden desk for a scene that I am collaborating with a former coworker and alumni. I think I never had a class with this person. And I graduated, I think a year before he did. A year before he did. But he is far more talented than I am. And we're going to be working on kind of like a horror scene. I don't know. Lately we're far from October. But a lot of things have been horror themed lately. It's kind of a cool coincidence. But I don't know why I didn't record the modeling process. I think it was because it was my first time back in Maya or my first time back in a while. By the way, welcome back to Maya. In the future, we will be working on either Maya or Blender. I kind of have projects and videos planned for both, so it's gonna be fun. But I was really nervous about how efficiently I could build this thing in Maya, and it turned out pretty well. It's a simple desk. You can see the reference here, but I think it turned out pretty good. Pretty good. So we go straight into the texturing phase, which honestly is probably the most visually appealing. I know in these videos I prioritize the sound over what's going on the screen with these visuals. But I think I just encountered my first mistake. And this is what I'm talking about. Materials. I have never gotten comfortable with materials in Maya. Even here, when I think I do everything correctly. Like those tabs on the side. I don't like those. Those freak me out. Like, sometimes they have a bunch of them. You can get rid of it by deleting the history. But do they need to be there? Oh, my headphones are shutting off. But like, is it a good idea to get rid of them? Is it a good idea to delete the history? Like, that's what we were taught. Does that hold up? I don't know, but regardless, I assign everything a new material and give it a proper name. But you'll see that some of showed up, and 2 of them didn't. And this desk is made up of, or broken into 4 different parts. Now, the reason why they need their own materials is because in Substance you can isolate what are called texture sets, which is those 4 items there. I'm renaming and hiding just to see what's going on, because like I said, 2 of them showed up properly and 2 of them didn't. But what's cool is you can isolate and work on each texture set individually. And the way you get those is by materials. It'll create a material for every mesh that has the same material. But I don't know, I think Max, for someone new to Max or new to 3D in general, I think doing materials inside of Max is probably a little more confusing, but I'm used to it. And Maya's materials I just never got used to, but we'll get there. Dude, this material, this is probably my favorite of the preset wooden materials. It looks so dope. It's so clean. Just throw that on there and it's ready to go. Ready to go. But we obviously do some adjustments to this. Right now we'll just lay down the base materials and make any adjustments. Like here, we'll need 2 different layers of the same wood material. Just have one rotated 90 degrees for the legs. You wouldn't cut wood for legs that way. That would be very inefficient. So we'll rotate it so it looks like it was cut long ways. And then sit here. We're gonna run into another problem. Well, that was kind of one, but not really. But there's the problem. Take a look at the UVs and bam. Those little triangles stretching across. They're, what would you call them? They're just straight bits of geometry that came from the chamfering of the edges to make them less sharp. See what I mean? Like, here I am just trying to make the UV editor take up half the screen, but I end up docking it on Maya's interface. Like, I don't know what I'm doing here. But back to those triangles. See, like, that would have docked it. It's fucking annoying. But I wanted to round out the edges so that it didn't look so damn sharp. And it works well. And except for just a few cases where, like these, they don't know how to separate. So they just stretch out from end to end, even if the other end is on the other side of the 0 to 1 space. Fun stuff. So we'll select each little triangle, break it off, and you'll see that it's not actually a triangle at all. Just 2 of the sides are collapsed right there on the right side. It's actually scale them down and get them to the more accurate size. In some cases, it was they stitched together pretty well on their own, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. As annoying as it was trying to UV in a way that you're not used to. Like here, you have to move and adjust things in here by UVs, either by the UV selection, which is just the vertices, if you will, or the shell itself, which it's cool. It gives you the ability to move things as a group and individual parts of the island. But if you were to accidentally just, or by habit, just try to move something by the edge, like it moves everything that's attached to it. It's fucking annoying. Or like how you can't grab things or you can't move things by face selection. It's so odd to me. It's so odd. That was probably one of the most annoying things, is trying to figure out how to, or getting used to moving and adjusting UV shells inside of this fucking interface. It was fucking annoying. But, or, dude, the things that I fucking cut out of this was, or like, I don't even think I cut them. I don't even think I cut it. I just never recorded it. But literally, it was me struggling and fighting with the bonus tools, automatic unwrap, or the bonus tool, UV unwrap, whatever tool thing. It used to be, back when I used it in school, it used to be so simple. You would take your model, normal UVs, like it hasn't been cut or adjusted in any way. They're all still together. You would enter the tool, and you would select edges that you wanted to have borders, where you wanted it to be cut, pretty much. And you would do it all in one turn. You would just go around selecting, whether it's shift or control. I believe it's control for max, shift for my, I could have that reversed, but you would just select all the edges that you wanted to have seams, and you would tell it, okay, those are my borders, okay, go ahead and unwrap this, and it would do a really good job. It made unwrapping a breeze compared to Max, because in Max you unfold things or relax them, in Maya's terms, or in Max's terms. You would relax them, and sometimes it would do a good job, but oftentimes you would have to edit the result that it gave you, refine it, if you will. And that was honestly, like, a lot of that was really annoying. And Maya's bonus tool kind of got rid of that. But fuck, has it gone down the drain lately? At least it seems. Because on the simplest bits of mesh, this thing collapsed collapsed an entire UV shell comprised of, I don't know, dozen or more vertices. It would collapse them into a single point right in the middle of right at the zero, the lower left zero. The 0 to 1 space, actually that is the only zero. It would just collapse it there at the 0 point. And I don't know what the fuck to do. You know, in the end I had to, like, there was no way to like select that island and try to unfold it or stitch it or sew it to something that it was touching. Whatever, nothing. I just had to literally go into UV selection and move out vertices one by one until I could start to see a shape forming, and then I could unfold it or relax that. It was so annoying. So I had to fight the bonus tools for a while, but here we're separating the legs from the sideboard here. I'm doing this because, you know, like I mentioned, we're gonna have two of that wood layer, but one's gonna be vertical, one's gonna be horizontal. So I'm just kind of making it easier for me to isolate or appropriately assign the vertical material to the legs without having to manually hide it for the sideboards. You'll see what I mean. Because we use that when masking, we use that island fill option. And I love that. Just being able to re-import the same mesh. Obviously after it's fixed, but there we go. See, now we're not just selecting the leg. That's all we do is select the leg. We don't select both the leg and the sideboard this time around. And there's no more triangles stretching across. But I think there's gonna be one more mistake. It has to do with what's it called? It has to do with the handles for the drawers. Always double check your UVs. Always. There's usually something wrong. Or maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just my case. But here we go. Just assign the horizontal to the horizontal pieces. Vertical's taken care of. And dude, this wood looks pretty good on its own. I love it. If I was doing like a cabin themed house, I would totally put this on the wall somewhere, where in other larger furniture. Maybe on the chairs, on a dining table. Everywhere. It's a nice material. It's a good preset. That's why I'm saying it's so easy for anyone to just come and pick up 3D painting now. 3D modeling in general, that's a whole nother animal. That's something that takes time, but you could always find free 3D models out there. You could throw them in a painter easily get some dope ass results. And there's the third fuck up. Third and final placing these things in literally the exact same way I'll do them now. I put it on everything. I did this. I went through this already. For some reason, it reverted back. I bullshit you not. And if you haven't noticed, I'm like carrying something, so we have to go back. That's another thing I need to get used to, is the adding to your selection and deselecting or subtracting from your selection. I'm so used to holding control and dragging to control my selections, and it's weird. You can end up picking things up after feeling or believing that you've fucking deselected something. It's weird. It's weird. It's weird, but I'll get by. Here we go again. Just re-import the same mesh this time. Oh, it switches sets, so you don't get to see the change immediately. But there we go. Everything's in its proper place now. Finally, we have this piece. I don't know if most people keep this as a separate mesh. I doubt it. I don't see the benefit of it, but I did it anyways. Oh, what happened to the knob on the texture? Or to the knob on the textures? The textures on the little knobs. Fuck me running. Okay. So here's something that I always forget to do at the beginning. Let's bake your materials. Or bake your textures. Bake your fucking textures. Now we can start adding some grunge. Some dirt. Some scratches. My eyes are tired. AC's off. There's a dirt generator, but I didn't like how it came out or what I was doing. I would have preferred to do this, which is just create a fill layer and use that dirt ground smart mask. And I was hoping that if inverted, it would kind of give the look that the bottom of the table or the desk was dirtier than the top, so it would gradually start to fade as it went up. But for whatever reason, it wasn't liking that. It wasn't going for it. All of that stuff, that's controlled by the textures that we just baked. The curvature, thickness, I think even maybe not the normals, there's a few other textures. Ambient occlusion, maybe. Directional maps, I don't know if I don't think that's something that gets baked, but curvature and thickness are two huge ones. In deciding how all these generators and masks work. My foot hurts. But here will start. Oh God. masking just that damaged layer, I have to do what I'm doing here, which is subtract from the wood layer. So we can, take away that quote unquote first layer of wood. And then we have to have the damaged wood reveal underneath. And we'll match the masks perfectly by just copying and pasting from one mask to the other. But when we get to the damaged one, we'll have to invert. It's something we've done in the past. I believe we did it for we must have done it for the robot character, for Bulk Smash. And we've done it a few times along the way. It's a neat little feature to copy and paste from masks that Substance has had for probably as long as I've been using it. Very thankful for it. But we'll just first mask all the areas of the wood. And I kind of want to do it to all sides. And it's a good thing I did. Like, you would think that the back of the desk or the legs at the back wouldn't matter. But in the end they kind of do. Because my latest discussion or talk with Z, the buddy I'm doing this with, he described how for this scene it's just gonna be a still set, but he wants to have more than one camera in the scene. So this thing could be shot from this table could be seen from probably 3 different angles. So I want to make sure every side gets the same amount of attention. And here we'll do base into the mask. And then invert it. There you go. Sweet. And then we just hide it from the other pieces of the desk. The other islands. And since those horizontal parts are separated by islands, our legs remain unaffected and still very visible. Now that looks a little too damaged, like that looks a little too rough, so we crank the height down. And that chills out a little bit. Looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. I'll go ahead and duplicate this. And make it's down here, but I'm gonna damage it everywhere. By the way, we just saw a massive streak on the other board there. I don't know if you caught that. I have no idea. I have no idea how that happened. It's easily fixable. But I don't know. I don't understand how that got there. Look at that. Like, what happened there? I haven't even been to that area. It's ridiculous. Hell hydrate. Hell hydrate. Try eats pass for free. No thank you. Oh, Razor Edge. Razor Edge is still posting to their YouTube. And they're streaming stuff on Twitch. What? I'm sorry, I'm supposed to be like commentating on this video. But that's pretty cool. Razor Edge Games. Check them out on YouTube. See what they're doing. And apparently now on Twitch as well. I wonder who's streaming over there. I also wanted to, I should probably talk about that. I should probably bring that up. I've mentioned to some in the past that I plan on returning to Twitch and streaming in general by March. I think March would be a doable time. But I don't know, with everything that's been going on with Twitch, how silent they've been about these hate raids. As far as like I know, like I keep hearing people complaining still to this day about hate raids and a lack of efforts, or just the utter complete silence on Twitch's end. It's baffling. Like, as I record this audio, we're only 2 days removed from September 1st, when a lot of my friends who stream took part in the day off Twitch. And I don't think Twitch has responded or come out and said anything. So I'm thinking, if things are still in this state by the time March comes around, I may just stream here on YouTube, because I like streaming. I like the interactions, the immediate interactions you have with people. I like how it feels like we're just hanging out. Like, I've always, this is gonna sound stupid, but I've always wanted to just, hang out with my friends here in person while I do homework. You know what I mean? Like, or when I was in school, like, I would just want someone to hang out with me while I was working, to like just keep me company, but also kind of keep me on track, keep me from being distracted. But nobody would. This wasn't my friend's cup of tea. And when I stream and do this. That's what it feels like. We're just hanging out while I do something that I enjoy doing. And you know, you guys are having a ball too. But I don't want to deal with that bullshit happening on Twitch. Like, I don't know how to remove bots if I get bot rated. Like, I don't want to have to invest time into learning about commander roots and whatever's going on. There's also something going on with that too. I saw. Like, I don't know. I think it's back, but I don't want to have to deal with that. I don't want it to complicate something that I enjoy doing. So, if things are still in this state by March, I'll probably just stream here on YouTube. Fuck it. I also like the amount of work that I get done when I stream. Because I would try to make the streams be about 4 hours. That's what I would aim for. Most times we hit the 3, but even still, like when I film for YouTube, it's in like 30-minute chunks. You know, because I think to myself, like, holy shit, I think about how painful it would be to record, or not record, but edit a 2-hour video of game design. I would lose my shit. Editing a 2-hour clip of anything, fuck that. I'm not a fan of editing. But if it was live, and yeah, maybe the entire 4 hours isn't spent, you know, doing stuff in 3D, whether it's texturing or modeling or whatever. You know, sometimes it's just me catching up on chat for a solid 15 minutes. or just conversating with you guys. But still, it's a lot more time spent working and having this program up and everything loaded than if I were to just film 30 seconds at a time for a YouTube video. So I want to get back to streaming. I want to do it very soon. March can't get here quick enough. But now we're gonna add some, what do you call them? There's a word for it. There's something rings. Damn it. It's not O-rings. Or just rings. Left behind by cans of soda, which there will be plenty across the desk. We're gonna have to come up with some off-brand designs for popular sodas. Like Mountain Fizz. I don't know, I think that's the only soda I remember from Drake and Josh. They had something else too. Maybe we can do a Mr. Pepper. I was thinking of Dr. Salt, but that just sounds horrible. dust, 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 but I don't know, I steered straight towards dirt and grime for whatever reason, like this desk, you know, was part of was in an abandoned house that's just been rotting for years, decades. It's like, why? Fuck it. We end up turning it down. And I still think we have, yep, there it is, the second layer of dirt. And with this layer, I kind of do like a subtraction method. Subtraction as in when you're hand drawing with the charcoal. I've probably done this like 2 or 3 times, not including the first time in class when they made us do it, but subtraction drawing, I think that's what, I don't think that's what it's called. That's just a term that our instructor used, but the idea is that instead of, if you're struggling with starting a drawing or painting or whatever it is, if the idea of a completely blank piece of paper or canvas is just fucking with you, and you can't seem to just get that first line, that first stroke, if it's just fucking eating you alive, just take a stick of charcoal and brush that thing all across the paper, all across the canvas, and fill that thing up completely. Now you have something on there. Now it's not just a blank piece of paper staring back at you, if it could. It's not mocking you. Now there is something to work with. And from there what we did was we took an eraser, since it was charcoal, and we started using the ends of the eraser as if, it was the point of the pen, and we just started subtracting, controlling the pressure to, control just how much we took off and how much we left behind. In this situation, I kind of do something similar, where I'm not really sure what areas I want dirtier than others. All I know is I want some areas to be dirtier than others. But instead of just starting with a cleanish table, I decided just throw a fat chunk of dirt on this thing and then slowly take it away. In some cases too slowly. Like, I crank down the flow and the stroke opacity. Turn it down a little too much. Like, that's cool and all, but we need to be subtracting a little faster than that. So what I try to do there is I try to kind of show the areas that are most commonly used on the surface, and the areas towards the back where, dust will usually build up. It's kind of like towards the back there. It's kind of wanted to show that maybe it's too much. Maybe I made it too heavy. But I think for the type of scene that we're going for, the lighting that I'm anticipating, I think that's gonna be fine. I think if we try to make it too light, too accurate, those details will get lost. So we'll see how that works. I also want to add some more story elements to this simple asset by just doing a few games of tic-tac-toe on this thing. And I had several ideas about where I thought I should make these. I should draw these games. And I thought about having it, on the lower right corner right here where the drawers are, or really big on the side over here to the right. But I thought, no, you know what? That's gonna be very uncomfortable. Like, you could play very naturally right here, where your seat goes, where you would normally be sitting. Quick auto save. That'll save your life. Decided to just do that right here. I thought about maybe going back in and really fading one of these out. It was played long before these were, or like they took a long time between each game. So like with this next one, I decided to add a different color, or introduce a different color. I also tried to change up the look and feel of it. Like, it's not just a different color, it was a different marker. So I changed the brush type, and honestly I even tried to change my strokes. Did it work out? I don't know. Oh god, that's not the stroke we end up with. But I used a thicker brush, thicker stroke, and I try to make them a little straighter. And then I had to kind of cheat myself to a win here, just so one of them kind of, just so we had one winning game. Because honestly, say the first two, I was literally trying to play myself. And I'm not good at this game. So, I did fucking poorly, but whatever. So I wanted to have just one version of the game where someone got a dub. Save that up. Save that up. I like how I'll group things and just try to keep things semi-organized. But I'm too lazy to name my layers sometimes. I'm actually kind of proud about these little doorknobs, these little drawer handles. I like how they came out using a combination of, I think it's the same wood. Or no, because this is smart material. Or maybe I'm about to fetch a copy of it, but I don't know. I think we use one of these smart materials. There we go. We use this with in combination with the copper smart material, and it worked out pretty well. Pretty cool. These smart materials are insane. I don't use them as often though. Not as often as I did when I was first picking up substance. I feel like we run into an issue here. No, I'm wrong. Okay, we're good. We're good. Oh god. How the hell did that even happen? It sucks when you do that, because as you try to zoom yourself out, you're kind of going super slow, because it's the speed at which you zoom in and out is reliant on how close you are to the front-facing mesh, the nearest front-facing mesh. And as you're zooming out from the inside, you're making the front of this drawer the front-facing mesh, so that's moving you even closer to that. And once it recognizes that as a front-facing mesh, you're moving super fucking slow. It does this, or it happens inside of here, inside of Marmoset, inside of Max and Maya. It's everywhere. It's fucking horrible. It's not that bad. It's not that bad, really. But what's cool about these things is, since they're stacked, this idea that I have, I only have to do it once, which is like, I want the front of the handle thing to be copper, but I don't want the full surface of it to be copper. I want there to be a ring of wood around it still. So we take a normal round brush and we're just gonna paint a little use the bracket key on the keyboard to bring it a size smaller, but here I was trying to, there's a way to hold either Control, Alt, or Shift, and one of the mouse buttons while moving it side to side. It's fucked up, complex shortcut key, but it's supposed to like help you. It's supposed to let you resize your brush. Like a combination of one of those, or of the three, lets you resize your brush in a more controlled way. And I was trying to do that, and I don't know, I couldn't figure it out. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's a feature that's gone now. But whatever it is, it didn't work. So I ended up with a ring that was a little thicker than I would have liked, but it's cool. I like the way it came out. Some more adjusting on the dirt layer here. Looking at that now, that's quite a bit of dirt. Quite a bit of dirt. This kid must be super messy. But I should talk about what this scene will be briefly. This scene is gonna be basically like a teen or young kid, somewhere around that age range. He'll be sitting in his room watching a scary movie, and behind him, coming out of like a closet, like barely like peeking out, will be some sort of like monster thing. But both C and I agreed that this monster wasn't going to be like some kind of like, we weren't going to take it too far with the monster. We weren't going to make it like a Conjuring or paranormal demon thing. Like, I don't think either of us is comfortable working on something like that. So it'll be a monster, but I don't know how scary it'll actually be. But the theme of the project is for it to be a little scary, a little creepy. So I'm kind of, we're setting this up in a bedroom, obviously, so I'm kind of setting up his computer space. So I kind of want him to have an L-shaped setup. It's something I use, but my desk is actually built as an L, or an L shape. It can be assembled that way. For the scene, since it's gonna be a young person, probably unemployed, not even working yet. I kind of want to have, the assets in the room kind of look like handed down furniture and equipment, things that you would pick up at a yard sale, shit like that. So the other part of the L-shaped desk, or the L desk setup, will be like a completely different table that's gonna be perpendicular to this one set up over there on the left side. I had ideas of using like like a glass table, or just, like a glass table sitting on, or are being supported by just random things. Like I don't know, like speakers. Speakers with stacks of books on top of that. And the table resting on that. And maybe on the other side, like a bunch of tires. You know what I mean? Like a bunch of tires stacked together. Like, I don't know. Or maybe, like, have a fold-out table. Like, like Ryan used to. His original setup was that a fold-out table. And he would set up all his streaming stuff on that. I think he's upgraded since then, but like if we could have that lined up next to this thing, something startle taste. I think that would be pretty cool. His monitor setup will be, I think I want to do like a dual monitor setup, but have the monitors be two different models, you know what I mean, like, once again, handed down equipment, or purchased at a yard sale, just that kind of look, that kind of vibe. But not everything is going to be dirty like this. It's just a desk that's been neglected, not really well taken care of. Oh, he's really not liking something outside. Oh, here we go. We're gonna add or adjust the damage on this side. I didn't think I recorded this. I didn't want you guys to see this. Just kidding. But this was kind of like I was debating on whether or not to do this, because I thought it would be a little more complicated than it seemed at first. Not the painting part, but the mask part. We would have to, because remember, it's kind of like a two-part thing where we hide or mask the wood layer, and then copy that mask into the damage layer and invert it. I thought that would be more troublesome than it appeared to be, but it actually wasn't. Super fucking simple. We just had to go through and do some quick island masking again. UV island masking, and well, that turned out to be a pretty good decision. I was happy with it. Then I kind of decided to leave the damage in on that, which makes sense. God, I hope that AC unit turning on wasn't too loud. I probably should have hit that from the bottoms of the legs. Not that it makes any difference. It doesn't really. It's never gonna be seen. It doesn't matter. But it bugs me. It bugs me knowing that it's there. Uselessly and pointlessly there. I don't like it. Decided to turn down the height just a little more. That might have been too justice. It's valuable detail for a dark scene. Might bring that back up a little bit. That is full go for week 1. Dak Prescott will be facing off against Tom Brady. Week 1. God, I hope the Buccaneers do well. Here we go. This is also something I almost forgot to do. And you guys have seen me do this quite a few times. I just increase the shadows with the ambient occlusion map. Create a layer for it. Isolate that layer. And then add levels to control it. But obviously rename it first. Obviously. And then I debate on whether or not I want to do one for what I call the desktop, the main surface there. It's mainly going to show up on the edges. So, I don't know, I do end up putting one just to see what happens. But I think I basically leave it off, or almost off. There's really not much to these, but it's good to have them there. It's good to have. I think in Marmoset, those take quite an intense turn. There we go. Adding it to the desktop. And you don't really see much change. Then you add levels to it and you just kind of start seeing it on the edges. Barely. So I just decided to yeet it. Get the fuck out of here. Do a save. Quick save. Always save your work. Always save your work. Export those out. We'll jump into Marmoset. From here, it's kind of a boring process of setting up your materials from scratch. But I love the aspect of bringing the normal in first. You can really see just how much effect it has on the model alone. Then you bring the color in. Make sure the little color value there is always set to pure white. Because even though you're using an alpha map or an albedo map, that color, whatever value that color has, it does influence the overall look of the model, or of the texture, or material, whatever the fuck. Bam, that's dope. I love occlusion renders. drawers after this of all the things that I make, because I think the main goal, or the main idea behind this collab is to create a project or a portfolio piece. So no shortcuts. We're trying to make these things look dope while being as industry accurate as possible, if that makes sense. Oh, and here I have a little heart attack. I almost feel like it almost fucked up on me, or the model fucked up, but I just brought in the wrong thing. Because when you have drawers and drawers inside, when you look at that, at all those textures that you spit out from substance, like when those names are too similar, it's hard to tell them apart. So finish getting this set up. And I decided to, see, there's an occlusion map just going way too far. Like, I wouldn't mind the inside of the drawer being that dark, but why does the outside have to be so dark? And it sucks because I left, in the render settings, I left ray tracing off. I just felt like overall, it yielded better results. But one thing it did do is make the inside of that fucking drawer dark as fuck. So maybe I'll find a way to adjust the textures or something, to get the best of both worlds if we can. And see, even that ended up super dark with the occlusion map applied. Looking at the damage there, like maybe we didn't lose too much. Like, I'm gonna try bringing back some of that height information. See if we can't get that to stand out a little more. It looks great on the legs. Roughness maps